This meeting back in session, and would you all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have anything for public comment? I don't believe that we do. So we'll move on to the consent agenda. There is one item that's going to be removed from the consent agenda for a separate vote. And that is the Director of Facilities. So I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So second.
Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Now I need a motion to approve the Director of Facilities contract.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. I pulled this off and I'm voting no. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, the ayes have it.
May I introduce Mr. Cleary?
Yes.
Thank you. So I would like to welcome and introduce to everyone our new Director of Facilities, Mr. Frank Cleary. He jumped right into it today, day one. I'm impressed he still has his tie on. It's been a long, hot day, but we're excited to have Frank on board and looking forward to a new year. He even wore his purple.
Nice. I like it.
Again, it's school colors. I have to stick with the spirit.
Right. Thank you. Welcome aboard, Frank.
Oh, thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Anything else, Superintendent Ryan? All right, discussion and action items. I need to seal the minutes of the executive session.
So moved. Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. The next thing on the agenda is the FY23 Capital Facilities Report. I'm looking at you, Mr. Ferrucci.
Good evening. At the Building and Finance Committee, Facilities Committee, Mr. Wood had presented this outline of district projects that have been ongoing and updated the committee. There were a number of items that he has proposed that this contracts that are part of the dollars that are listed. And I'm able to tell you tonight that, all of the projects that we've got here, based on the debt funds that we have available, that we've got housing aid coming in on, we'll have the finances to cover the expenditures as the budget is presented this evening. And things are moving, other than we've run into some hiccups with the roof project at Kateris. It got delayed for a number of weeks because of supply issues, supposedly COVID-related. The contractor was in over the weekend. Apparently, we've had some dumpster issues not getting moved in a timely manner that we had heard that they were supposed to be moved, and some other things that may be pressing even tomorrow. And Frank and I have been speaking about this and how to address the issue as best we can. So that project is still ongoing, but it should not impact the operation of the schools inside. But like I had just mentioned, there is some logistical issues with regards to where dumpsters are currently located. I'm happy to answer any other questions that might be presented at this time.
The only question I have has nothing to do with the money so much as when children are in school and they're doing construction. We usually post signs that say no smoking, no this, no that. Are we going to post those signs? Are those signs posted for construction crew?
I don't see why we couldn't get something like that done. I don't
It's just-
see any issues with that whatsoever.
Okay, thank you. Because the construction crew doesn't know. So thank you. All right, the next thing on the agenda is the approval of the KMS gym floor project as recommended by the Budget and Facilities Subcommittee.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second?
Discussion. I'd like to be able to give the public the amount of the cost of that floor? Please.
The quote that's on for Jimson Floors Inc., Gymnasium Flooring is $21,947, and it is budgeted.
Thank you. Any other?
Yeah, Tony, is that the original floor in that building?
I'm sorry?
Is that the original floor?
I don't know the age of the
So,
floor.
No, no.
When we were discussing it, it has been probably 30 years. It hasn't been redone since regionalization. So I don't think it's the original floor. I think Warren High School had redone the floor at one point, but it is original since we've regionalized. So that was one of the discussions that we had at the budget subcommittee meeting. And my only other question is, when will the work be done?
I know that there was some logistical questions regarding the availability of the gym and the commitments that we have. I believe that the work itself is about a 10-day window by the time you strip it all the way down, because they're going to strip it down, and then you apply a coat, and then you have to let it settle, and then you got to apply next. So it's a little bit of a process. They also will be repainting the lines underneath, so they're going to strip down the wood and restripe it, etc. So the work itself, I'm thinking, is about a 2-week window, but I don't know what the schedule is. Once I confirm the schedule, we can get back to you with that.
Thank you.
And also to anybody who's rented it during that time.
Yeah, that's the easy piece to move around. I understand one of the concerns is the elections that are coming up and whether they're going to be in the auditorium if they can't get into the gym, and those kinds of things that impact the public.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. The next thing on the agenda is the approval of a 1-year contract with DuPont Landscaping as recommended by the Budget and Facilities Subcommittee. I need a motion
So moved.
and a second.
Second.
Now we have discussion. Mr. Ferrucci, we have a couple of questions about that. Could you explain what this landscaping contract encompasses?
This particular
Please.
proposal was the actual submission from the RFP process that we had. And when we first received it, we actually tabled it, if you remember, a few meetings ago, because we wanted to approach the vendor. We were concerned about the overall pricing that's on the table. It does include the expansion of services, including the Warren buildings. We did not budget anywhere near $135,000 a year for this type of landscaping activity. We were exploring the possibility of either redesigning the bid and or the cost impact of possibly bringing the services in-house. At $143,000, that's the better part of 2 full-time employees and materials. So we wanted to explore that option. We did approach the contractor and asked if they would entertain a 1-year contract and remove the Warren property at this point. So they have reduced it down to about $80,000, which is about 10 grand over what we currently budgeted. But in order to give the new facilities director the opportunity to see how the operation is and see how we might be able to organize, we're asking this evening for a 1-year contract only with the adjustments that I just spoke to. So it's about an $80,000 commitment, and that'll buy us the year to organize and or properly budget it going into next year. And we'll make that conversation with you at a future date.
Okay, that's what I understood, but I just wanted to have that clarified. So does anybody else have any questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. The next thing on the agenda is the approval of the purchase of athletic wrestling mats. Finally.
So moved.
As recommended by the Budget and Facilities Subcommittee. So moved. I need a second.
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 Discussion. It's taken us a while to get these. How much are they, please?
$20,740, and the funds have been budgeted.
Thank you very much. All in, what? Go
What
ahead.
is the life of a map?
As long as you want to make it like.
It's the
Until it
thick,
starts thinking.
it's the thickness.
But how long does it
It,
last?
it depends. If they're,
It does say 40 foot by 40 foot if you go to the back page of the quote.
How long is it supposed to last for us?
Let's see.
What's the life expectancy? I probably won't be there. Not-
I don't know the answer to that because we,
yeah, really.
Well, we can find that out another
All
time
right,
since it's
thank you.
not on the,
I'm going to vote right now.
I know. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. The next thing on the agenda is the approval of the purchase of a new van for the school lunch program.
So moved.
second,
Mr. Frucci, would you like to discuss where we are with that, please?
I would be happy to. Thank you, Madam Chair. Last year, when I first got here, we identified the need to replace the van. It's an obligation of the district to provide a van for the school lunch program to ferry the food that's made in a specific cook kitchen and then taken out to the schools, et cetera. We have been leasing a van because there were no vans available at the time we went out to bid. Nobody bid on it. There's COVID inventory issues with new vehicles, vans in particular. And so we've been looking almost a year now to find a van, and we leased the van all of last school year. These vans pop up very quickly and they're consumed very quickly. So Mr. Wood identified a van on the Monday of the Building and Finance Committee meeting, and that was too late to put it onto the agenda, so we didn't have an opportunity to chat about it. I got a copy of a proposal from the vendor, but we needed to get on your agenda, and the van has been since sold. And that's been the practice that we've experienced for the whole year, so it's been very difficult to secure a product and the timeliness of coming to school committee and getting approval. Unlike other capital expenditures, this particular expenditure would pay for itself in about 18 months. We're paying about $600 a week for a lease on a vehicle, which we spent close to $30,000 last year. And the price we had on the table from the vehicle that we had found was $49,000. So it'd be about a year and a half payback. Our current school lunch is extremely well funded. In fact, we are in a position where if we don't start spending some of the capital that has been piggy banked, we will be facing potential price reductions in our program, mandatory to eat the surplus until it gets back to a point where we only have enough cash to operate the program for 2 months, which could then jeopardize, okay, you reduce the price so the children and the families gain that benefit for possibly a year, and then next year you got to bump the way back up. It doesn't make any sense. We need equipment in kitchens, and we need this particular vehicle, so the funds are available to do this. If I thought this was just a COVID-related issue, I would say, you know what, maybe we can put it off, or maybe we can bid again. But I can tell you my experience in Warwick, the last 7 years, whenever we went out for a single van or vehicle, no vendor would bid on them. And the essence of what it is that the dealerships are not taking the time to bid on a sold vehicle and make $1,000 profit. They'd rather have no bid go in and then have to come to their dealership. So unless we had a fleet of vehicles, it was not successful the last 7 years. That's why this evening I'm asking that you pre-authorize a purchase up to $50,000. We find a vehicle, the district will move on it, and then we'll report back out to you at the nearest school committee meeting that you would have on your calendar. And I can assure you we're in excess of $400,000 in cash in bank with the school lunch program today. So there's plenty of cash to be able to execute this without any impact.
Well, Mr. Fucci, I would say this, though, we understand that you need the van, and we understand that you need it yesterday. We understand that you need it 6 months ago. We're not putting a cap on you. We're just saying, find the van and let us know that you found it. So I would say that I interpret this as being authorization for you to go and find a van.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Does anybody disagree with me on that? Okay, so that's what we're authorizing you to do. And then just let us know when you find it.
Excellent. Thank you.
No waiting for another meeting, all right?
Excellent.
Thank you. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. The next thing on the agenda has been removed, and that is the school physician and dentist bid awards. We're not ready to do that yet. The next item on the agenda is approval of the FY22 preliminary year-end fiscal report.
So moved.
Second.
You want me to remove it?
No, okay.
Okay, well, I'm going to look at you now because it's,
It's the end of year reports.
Yep, thank you. In your packet, you have a copy of a year-end presentation that we had made to the Budget and Building Committee. We're a little bit tardy. I typically like to try and get this out in July, but since we didn't meet for the month of July, there was no pressing, and I'm presenting it this evening. Actually, it's one of those reports where I'm happy to report. When we first started last year, we came to you and had asked for $1 million in fund balance be our allocation because we didn't spend it the year before, and to buy us some time for myself and the new superintendents to organize and understand how the district operated financially. And I assured you at that time that that would be the very worst case scenario, but I expected it to get better. I was able to report to you in November that we actually didn't need about $600,000 out of that allocation. And I saw that the year-end budget meeting would be about $400,000, and that we would continue to beat up that cost, save funds where we could, et cetera, and see if we can get back as close to balanced as possible. And so I'm happy to report this evening that through, my office alone, where we did not fill the accounting manager's position, and the administrative assistant position stayed vacant for the better part of 3/4 of the year. My office alone turned back $110,000 from those two positions. So things like that took place throughout the course of the school year. And so this evening, I'm here to report that the net fund balance that we project at this point needing to close out last fiscal year is $135,000.
thank you very much.
And as I noted in here, and we had talked about this as they unfolded, there were 3 events that were one-time only, extraordinary, and those costs were about $105,000. So those are pieces of the 105 of it were totally unexpected, attributed to prior year issues and what have you. So, and you've been advised of that as it unfolded. So it shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. We are still receiving some small bills in dribs and drabs. So that number probably will go up to about 150,000 or thereabouts. As typically what happens is when school opens up, all of a sudden somebody finds the bill that was in the basket back from June, or more importantly, we try and send a student out for a service, and they're like, well, you didn't pay us for June. Well, you never sent us an invoice. So those little things will trickle in over the next couple of weeks, but we're getting ready to close out, and I'm very excited about where we landed. And of course, this year's budget, we know those numbers are solid, and we don't project to see the use of any fund balance. So we really did stabilize an uncertain period and come out on the other end in a very good spot. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Well, I really first wanted to say congratulations to everybody at this table who worked hard to get us to where we are, and that's an amazing feat on your part, and we really appreciate all of the hours that you spent in your office and with the Budget Finance Subcommittee and others who attended those meetings, because we were looking pretty bleak, and now we're looking pretty good. And I kind of like that. And I like to be able to report that to the people out in the public, that we're getting it done. So thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. The next thing on the agenda is the approval of policy DBK, Budget Transfer Authority, as recommended by the Policy and Curriculum Subcommittee for a second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. This is a second reading, so we did it at the last meeting. So all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. The next one is the approval of the removal of policy BBA, School Committee Member Qualifications, as recommended by the Policy and Curriculum Subcommittee.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the last thing on our agenda is approval of policy BD, school committee meetings, and removal of policy BDDA, notification of school committee meetings as recommended by the Policy and Curriculum Subcommittee reading for a second reading.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
Discussion.
I just wanted to chime in briefly and just make sure that the public is aware that we're not just pitching these policies because we don't need them. They are encompassed in other policies or redundant in state or local policies, as is, for example, sorry about that. Thank you. Why am I? Yes,
We just incorporated it in meeting.
yes, thank you. I should just be quiet. It's okay. But anyway, we incorporated existing policies and compressed them so that it's a little bit clearer and easier to locate.
And since it's a second reading, it's now adopted.
Yes.
So, hearing nothing else, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I need a second. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It's good to see you.
Happy first day of school.
Yes.
Erin, let me try to text you and see if